Wow.
Good evening, actually, good afternoon, everybody, or good morning, depending upon where you are. And my name is Roy Belquist, and welcome to Roy's Tie-Dye Sci-Fi Corner. This is a very special episode edition that we are doing today. And we are actually honoring the 50th year of production starting on Space 1999. And that was actually 50 years ago today, December 3rd, 1973. And I want to welcome, we have some special guests that are joining us today, and I want to introduce them. First, just to let everyone know, joining me as my co-host is Mr. Warren Friedrich. Warren, welcome to the show. Thank you for being here today. And joining us from the UK is the lovely Suzanne Peterson. Suzanne HEIMER, back from the days of Space 1999. Also joining us from the UK, we have Mr. Prentis Hancock. And joining us from California is Mr. Nick Tate.
Hi. Good to see you all. Because I can see Susan. I can't see Prentis. And I can't see all the people that are watching, but I can see you guys, which is wonderful.
I see you too.
Yeah, it's extraordinary. You know, you talk about 50 years. 50 years ago, I remember it like it was yesterday. Whilst you say it was the first day that we started official shooting, we had in fact been rehearsing for 6 weeks.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, Lee Katzin, the director, he talked Jerry Anderson into the fact that most American series shoot the pilot and then start shooting the series, and until they get up to speed, they sometimes mix them around. Or they'll put the first one as episode 4 and the second one is episode 2 and 3 or whatever it might be. So he didn't want to do that. He wanted to hit off with a really big episode in the beginning. So he rehearsed us in so many different scenarios. I'm sure that he and Jerry weren't even exactly certain how the breakaway and the explosion that was happening on the moon with us and our reaction to that, people falling off ramparts and bouncing over desks, a lot of stuntmen flying left, right, and center. We spent some time working out who was going to be best suited to be jumping over things and falling over things, and it was very exciting.
That's really awesome to hear, Nick. Just hearing that background. And before we get into everything too, because I just want to welcome some of the viewers that are out there. I see Nancy is joining us from Canada, from Alberta, Canada. Welcome, Nancy. Great to see you out there. I see Dennis Chevalier is also joining us from Canada. Welcome, Dennis. And Christian is joining us from Canada as well. Welcome, Christian. Great to see you out there. Brian Jackson is joining us from the UK. Great to see you as well, Brian. Thank you for joining. Let me see here. And also Jerry Seward is out there. Welcome, Jerry. And just want to let you know, Nick, Jenny Bonnie Millett is joining us from Australia. So Australia is also represented.
Get in,
Jenny. And I know it's early there, Jenny, because I think you said it was probably like 3 a.m. So appreciate you being up in the wee hours of the morning. So thank you for that. And yeah, it's just wonderful to see everybody there. Claudia Combs is joining us, and it is Claudia's birthday today. So happy birthday to you, Claudia.
Happy birthday, dear Claudia. Happy birthday, dear Claudia. Go on.
And I also see Robert. Robert, I don't want to butcher your name, but I see you're out there, and he's joining us. Yes, Faruja. He's joining us from the UK as well. Robert, thank you. Thanks for being here.
Hi, Robert.
And
he normally comes and sees me.
Yeah, Robert.
For ages.
Linda is joining us also from Western Canada. She's saying hello to everybody. Welcome, Linda. Great to see you out there as well, too. So we have.
What news do we have of Catherine Schell?
I don't have any news on Catherine Schell personally.
One of the conventions I went to last year, beginning of last year, she was at, and it was great to see her. And she she said that she had always been nervous about going to conventions, but she felt that it was such a success she'd like to do some more. I was looking forward to seeing her, but haven't been able to so far. I hope she's fine.
Yeah, and we're hoping that she's going to actually be at the event in 2024, which will be the big 50th anniversary convention that's going to be taking place next September. So the countdown for that is really underway. It's less than a year out, and yeah, it's like 9.5 months away, which is kind of crazy, right, Warren?
Absolutely, trust me. Yeah, I'm watching the clock. I'm watching the calendar every day. I can't believe it's actually happening because, of course, but we'll talk about it more at the end of the show. But yeah, it's really nice to see because we all had to live through those delays with the pandemics, but we're all very excited.
But you're the making it happen, aren't you?
Well, it's a collaborative effort. Trust me, and Roy is very integral in everything that's gone on so far.
You are the men. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Well, and thank you for saying, but yeah, it's been a true honor, and then everything that's going to be represented next year with the big 50th, and it's only a part of the 50th, like Roy said earlier. This show today, for example, is really kicking things off. There's going to be several 50th anniversary celebrations over the next 2 or 3 years, so we're just happy to be a part of it.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of stuff going on over the next 3 years, and this is just one component, and just being, there's so many fans of Space 1999 out there, and there's going to be so many people doing different types of tributes on so many levels. But I'm very, very thankful to have all of you on the show because it's very special to be able to share, especially on this special day. And with that said, I'd like to welcome Anton Phillips to the show. Welcome, Anton.
Hi, hello, Roy. Hi, Warren. Nick, how are you?
Hey, buddy.
Beautiful Susan. How are you, Susan?
See you, Anton. You're not very well lit. Have you got any more light?
Yes, I'll try and organize that.
That's better. Even that.
Nice to see everybody.
Just to let you know, Prentice is out there, but he is on audio only, so you're not going to be able to see him. So I just wanted to let you know that.
I'm here.
Yes, and I was just going to say, Prentice, we haven't really heard from you yet, and just because the connection here is a little wonky today, we should really get your take on Breakaway and that very first monumental day of filming. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yes, I do, which is completely the contradiction of what Nick had to say. There was no shooting a rehearsal before it started. We went straight into it.
Get a door straight through.
Getting a little background noise there from somebody.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay.
Let me read this to you, the forward.
Sure. Yeah. Prentice is about to read his special forward from Odysseus Wept, the new novel. So that'll be a nice treat for the fans.
That's right. Yes, written by William Lathan and produced by OS Media. It's a final segment of their 20-year publication of various books, all which fit together and fit around Space 1999. So it's a huge book, 550 pages long, but well worth reading. The forward. This autumn, it will be 50 years since I first walked on the main mission's head of Space 1999 at Pinewood Studios. 50 years. But I was so impressed by the size and seeming permanence of the set that I quickly could be still doing this in bookchairs. In reality, main mission was a sort of power station. Think China syndrome, and you'll have some idea of the space. Behind me, and up a wide flight of stairs, is Commander Koenig's office, and behind that, an open area for meeting and greeting and otherwise entertaining those who came to visit from Earth. It was huge. It filled most of soundstage L. Along with the twin M, they were a pair of stages were used all the time. The main mission settled on L stage, the lifetime of the ship. The planet of the week stood on M stage. The idea of Space 99 is brilliant. It's a work of genius. the creation of Jerry and Sylvia Anderson, but also of Keith Wilson, the designer, George Belak, Chris Enfold, Johnny Byrne. Those who say it couldn't happen, the moon could know not free will from the Earth's orbit and shoot off into space, I say dramatic license. The adding of an idea which is unlikely, not possible, or unbelievable, which nevertheless makes for a good story. And I'm sure all space fans love the storyline. My perspective is of Series 1. I had no interest in Series 2, having been discarded along with Barry Morse, one of the stars. What I heard say they had stitched main mission in favor of a command center. I knew the heart of Space 1999 had been the back. For main mission, I could control everything that went on and direct operations through the big screen in my capacity as second in command. Thinking of those distant days, people come to mind. The stars of the show, Martin Landau and Barbara Bain, were unfailingly professional, courteous and friendly, as was Barry Morse. He even gave me a lift to the studio when my car was off the road. Senior Merton, good friend and colleague, got a proposal of marriage when they found the contract was for a whole year. In my case, I was most impressed by the first class travel, if I ever was required to go to the United States. Then there was Suzanne Burkett, often noted by fans for not being used enough. She had the ability to lift the scene and make a filmic moment. Paul, mind if I share the music with the guitar with you? Made the scene in Black Sun of me playing my guitar memorable. June Bolton was an operative in her band who would turn up later in Moonraker, playing opposite Roger Moore in a very good role. We were very mixed in main mission, multinational, with many languages. Space 1999 can be seen today on a number of UK channels. Among them, one stands out, Britbox, an amalgam channel of the BBC and ITV, which shows programs almost half a century after being made. I believe this more than a test of the work of the show, something I believe you, like me, knew already. For those embarking on reading Odysseus Wept, this is a culmination of Powers Media's work over 2 decades career. Throughout the whole process, they have been tireless in their dedication to publishing stories set in the world of Space 1999 and to expand their universe. It's a final story posited by Johnny Byrne, who's been fashioned by the writer William Layton, together with Matteo Licosa and others, into a lasting tribute. Let me commend Odysseus Wept to the mighty narrative of William Layton. I particularly like the way the stories start from a bleak, uncompromising start as the universe is threatened with annihilation because of the imminent extinction of light and therefore life. But through familiar voices, Tony Carter, other favourites, including surprisingly Paul Morrow, they relate the adventures they have experienced, the horrors they have witnessed, and they decide they have found a planet they can live on. What next? Who knows? A revival of the series on film? It'll take a new producer with a limitless supply of money to undertake such a venture. We will have to wait and see if Space 2099 ever happens. I've mentioned a number of people who are sadly no longer with us. But those who follow the thespian plan in front of the camera know they can go on entertaining long after they have passed away, if they appear in the right show. In conclusion, if occasional forays on a mobility shops can stand in for a winter, and you could say that what I quipped about almost 50 years ago has become a reality. Enjoy the forthcoming celebrations.
Thank you very much for that, Prentice.
Wow. That was
Sorry,
amazing.
my breathing gets a bit tricky.
Yeah.
No, that was incredible. I'm gonna buy Odysseus Wept now just because of the forward. It was amazing. Yeah. Very nice words and sentiments. Thank you.
Yeah, very, very much appreciated. Suzanne, oh, actually, what I want to ask you is, and then I want to get to Anton. What are your earliest recollections? And obviously, you were there from day one as well, and right throughout the entire first season as well as the second series. But do you have like a first memory or something that really stands out from like when the show was, when filming began, or when you came into the production for the very first time? Suzanne, we can't hear you.
I'm back again.
Hi,
I
Nick.
can't hear anybody.
Yeah, can you hear me?
I don't know how to stop my phone from ringing in and messing things up.
It's okay.
Maybe I'll have to drop to come back.
Okay.
Because I can't hear anybody.
No worries.
And it looks like
Anton's talking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, because the mute sign is
okay.
up,
Can you hear me now?
So I didn't know what was going on.
I can't hear anybody. Yeah, you can hear me, but I can't hear you. Right. Thank you for the thumbs up. Maybe I'll have to leave and come back.
Okay.
Suzanne, can you hear you?
Suzanne, we can't hear you.
I can't hear her. Can you hear her?
No, she dropped out.
Oh well, you got me.
Wait a minute.
Oops, hold on, she's trying to come back.
Yeah, but listen, it's gone funny, Sandra. Look, oh wait a minute. It's gone funny. You better go and look at it downstairs.
All right, we'll try it again. Prentice, thank you very much again for that. Christian said, Prentice, your voice is like fine wine. Thank you. And I wanted to say hi to Ordif Romeo. He's saying great to see and hear all. And also Michelle Diato is also out there. Welcome, Michelle. And then one last comment, and then I'm going to jump right back to you, Anton. Scott Anderson Key said, I worked in the Motion Picture Union for 25 years, and the highlights of my career working on Martin Landau's last film and getting to thank him for inspiring me. And he flew my Eagle model around my workshop, looked at me, grinned, and said, I can't believe I used to fly these things. Space 1999 forever. Wonderful story. Anton, I'm so sorry. In regards to your first days on the set of Space 1999, do you have a clear recollection of how everything began and anything you'd like to share?
Well, I mean, I suppose in many ways my first recollection is one of panic, because I came in, the thing was fully born up and running, and never actually worked in a sound stage before. I'd done television but on location. So to come into the big sound stage with everybody doing their job and not really paying very much attention to me, I just thought, well, I better keep my eyes on what everybody else is doing and copy them. So looking at people like Nick and Prentis and Martin and Barbara, obviously, and just seeing how cool they were, and they got on with the job, I thought, right, well, that's what I better do.
No, I can only imagine how that had to be for you and everything, because you have a very strong theater background and everything, and then coming into that type of venue is such a transition. But you just it just encompassed, and you did great. So you know what, and look at how we have all these wonderful memories and everything, and then with your career as well. So it all definitely worked out very, very well.
Yes, as I said, I mean, just seeing what people like Martin and Barry and the Nicks and Prentices of this world were doing on set, I just said, I'll just copy what they're doing.
Yeah, your Australian accent was really good, mate. I've just put headphones in for the first time. I can hear you all properly.
All right.
Sadly,
Can you hear me?
unfortunately, yes.
Oh, don't be horrible, Nick.
No, I love you, Susan. You know, I couldn't. I love you so much. You have wonderful memories for me.
Oh dear, good. I'm glad you can hear me.
I can. Oh, you've got a bit of a raspy old thing going on
Yeah,
there.
it's my throat. I've had one operation. I think I've got to have another one.
Oh, seriously? I wouldn't have made fun if you had known you
No,
about
it's all right, darling.
operations.
Don't worry. Don't worry. Sometimes it's okay. Sometimes it's not so good. No,
Kind
I'm
of sexy.
fine.
It's
I'm
very
fine.
sexy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, oh, yeah, yeah.
Suzanne, you must try soothing it with champagne, which is what I'm treating my throat with at the moment.
Oh, really?
Yes, because
Oh,
you
how
guys.
nice.
So it's what is it, about 5:30 or something where you are? What?
20 to
What is
6.
20 to 6.
Yeah.
Not bad. It's very early in the morning here in LA.
It's a holiday weekend, a birthday
Yeah.
weekend.
Yeah, you've had a birthday. I wish I'd known you were around, Anton. You should have come and had some lunch. Oh, you went and had lunch with friends, didn't you?
Well, no, the reason I'm here is because we cancelled it.
Oh, really? Where are
The
you
weather-
now?
Well, two things. I mean, the weather down there was really foul.
It
This
is
is
horrible.
Brighton. I was in Brighton earlier today, and really bad weather.
It is.
And so I had a luncheon appointment which I cancelled because also there's a lot of industrial action on the trains.
Yes, there is.
So there's no guarantee I'd actually get out of Brighton.
So you
So I
still
thought, well, let's hit the road, let's get out of there and get home. So I got home in time to join you this early.
good.
Prentice just mentioned something about a strike with some of the drivers for another 6 months.
Yes.
Yes,
It's
been
been
going
going
on
on
for
for
over a
ages.
year.
Wow, that's crazy.
I know it is.
Unanimously.
Suzanne,
Yes.
so do you? You probably couldn't hear me before. We couldn't hear you. So what are your earliest recollections of coming onto the set and your first days?
Well, I got the job through the assistants. I knew the assistants on it, and that's how I got the job. And I walked on, and I didn't know anybody. The only people I knew were the camera crew, and the assistants, and a couple. Sparks. I knew a few Sparks, but that's all. It was a bit odd, actually, going on there. And there was Nick Tate.
Well, what's that mean? There was Nick Tate.
No, you were very friendly, Nick. You were very friendly. It was not like some of them. They weren't very friendly.
Well, I'm struggling to imagine who wasn't friendly. I thought everybody was.
Well, yeah, because you were one of the actors. That's why.
Oh,
But
I see.
they were all nice. They were all. Once you got to know people, it was okay. But I didn't know anybody.
Honey.
So
Yeah.
I've got my grandson.
It's very disturbing to hear somebody call you Granny.
Say hello. Look, say hello.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, wow.
Hello.
Lovely.
Hi, Xander.
Hello.
Has he seen the show?
No, but his father, Justin, his dad, loves it. Yeah, he grew up, but my son grew up on it. He loved it. So he'll have to start watching it soon.
Yeah.
Well, I know, Suzanne, we'd invited Justin to the convention next year. Hopefully we'll see Xander too.
Yeah, well, he'd love that. Justin's looking forward to it. And I expect if he's not such a handful, yes, he'll come too.
Yes.
I think Prentice is just asking, how old is Xander?
3.5.
3.5.
Wow, that's crazy.
He's staying with me tonight, and I've got to take him to the school tomorrow, and then I'm working tomorrow. So a bit tight, but anyway, that's it. Yeah, no, they're looking. Justin's looking forward to it, Warren. He's looking forward to coming and seeing everybody. Were you there in 14? Because you were there. You met him there, didn't you, Warren?
Yep.
Did you meet Justin?
Yes, for sure. We really got along well. Yep.
Yeah.
I just can't believe that that's coming up on 10 years ago already, though, next year. That's
believe
insane.
it.
That's crazy.
Everything goes fast when you're older. It all races. It races. So
You're telling me.
I know. 18 months time, I'm 80. I can't bear it. We're all getting old. All of us are getting old. But
Young at heart.
Prentice is trying to ask a question here, guys. Sorry.
Oh,
No, go ahead.
sorry.
Yeah, I think we're good, Prentice. Go ahead.
But I got Nick's tickets for you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Maybe Roy, just mute Anton for a second.
Okay.
Somebody's got a lot of noise going on in their room.
I've
There
got
we go.
nothing.
Go ahead.
This is open. I can't get in.
No, you're there, Prentice. We can hear you.
Oh, thank God. It's about 10 minutes. I was going to say I have a grandchild.
Oh, you do?
They were born yesterday. The first.
Oh.
Oh, wow.
She's going to have a brother, I hope, in 6 months.
Oh, nice.
Congratulations.
When was this child born?
We may see her. Sorry?
Prentice, when was your grandchild born?
On the 1st.
Of December.
Oh, wow.
She's a gorgeous.
Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations.
I have a grandchild that was born last week.
Oh, wow. How lovely.
Congrats, Nick.
I have 3 grandchildren.
Oh,
I've got
lovely.
my son gave us Liam, who's now 11 and a scientist. My granddaughter Emmy is 8 and she's a ballet dancer and gymnast. And now little Winslow is 8 days old.
Wow.
Lovely name. Lovely name.
My daughter's child, first child. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it looks like we're all in the grandchildren arena.
Well, and really something that Nick, both yours and Prentice's were born like virtually within the same week.
Yeah.
Winslow was the 21st of November. And yours was what, the 1st of December, Prentice? Yeah.
The date they came up with for the next one with my daughter was 14th of May, which is my birthday.
Oh.
Oh, nice.
So it's going to be close.
Wow.
That's very special.
Little boy, then they have one of each.
So this is from 2 of your children, is it? Your daughters?
From my daughter.
But she's having another baby in May?
In May, yes.
But it can't be the same lady, surely.
Yes.
She's just given birth and she's having another one in May?
No. My grandchild is 2 years old. She was 2.
Oh, okay. So her birthday was just December 1st. And she's 2. And another one due on your birthday, right?
Okay, I get it now.
Just so you know, there's a lot of congratulations going on out there from different folks, and I know you can't see the comments, Prentice.
Very nice, very nice. Prentice, I see a lot of comments on, we were talking earlier about everybody's voice and maybe getting a little older, a little raspy, but you know what? The way you read that forward, I saw somebody say they should actually hire you to read some audiobooks.
Yeah, he's got a lovely voice. He's always had a lovely voice. Do you do audiobooks, Prentice?
I know, because my breathing is a bit dodgy. With long COVID. I might well take her advice and do some.
Yeah, and you can do it in your own time, and you can cut You can cut out all the pauses. I mean, you can let them cut out all the pauses.
I had pneumonia at the time.
Oh, good God, really? That's
So,
terrible. When was that?
That was about 5 years ago.
Oh, gee. Well, I'm glad you're still with us.
Oh, yes. Going strong.
Yes, buddy. You sound strong.
Yeah, rehab.
He does.
Reading a book sounds like fun, but it's incredibly hard work. I just read a script called Helios, which is something some of the folks, Space 1999 fans, are putting together. And it's taken months to do, and hours and hours and hours of, well, it's just because when you're reading, I make mistakes and I want to go back and do it again. And then I don't like it and I want to do it again. And you can't be too much of a perfectionist. It's sold. Other people think, oh, we just read it straight away. Well, no, it's not that easy at all, especially when you've got different characters.
Yeah. Oh, well, thanks for advice.
But they're right. You sounded fabulous when you read that to us.
My reading experience shortly after I came to England many years ago, in Jamaica, which is my home country, of course, they needed to put in place a speaking clock on the telephone system.
Oh, God.
And,
Why?
And for a while in Jamaica, I was the speaking clock on the top.
Oh, wow.
There's a claim to fame.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, you didn't get any repeat fees for it.
Oh, that's a shame.
The residuals would have been really, really good on that.
They would have been terrific. You know,
Yeah.
every 10 seconds you'd get something.
Look at the puppy. And Prentice, you started to say that the speaking clock story reminded you of something?
Yeah, years ago at Oldham Rec, I did a show with a girl, and it was a farce. And the next time I met her, she was a speaking clock in London. It was quite a difference in sound.
Oh, I'm sure. Well, one of the things I want to do is I just want to and then we'll jump back real quick, but I just wanted to say to everybody, well, actually, first I want to say thank you to Jerry and Sylvie Anderson for making Space 1999 a reality. So that's the one thing I wanted to put out there, as well as Martin Landau, Barbara Bain, Barry Morse, and then the entire crew who contributed to Space 1999, whether it was in front of the camera or behind the camera. And there's so many people to mention that I'm not going to be able to do it. But again, just want to put the thanks to everybody that was a part of the production, because it made everything to become a reality. And there's so many fans out there of this series, and it has endured and it has grown over the years. And there's so many different components that folks love about this show. And it's just very, very special to think that after all this time, you know, there were literally 48 episodes from this series, and it's really held up to this day. So I just wanted to say, you know, thank you to everybody that was a part of it, especially thank you to everyone that's, you know, here today as well.
Well, it was a pleasure. I mean, it was a pleasure for me to do.
Was that from your heart, Roy, or was that somebody you were reading?
No, that was from me. That's all from me. But I think I speak for a lot of folks out there, Nick, in regards to that, just because there's so many. You know, I'll say this: Space 1999 is not as big as Star Trek. It is not as big as Star Wars, but the fans of the series love the series, and you know, quality doesn't depend upon quantity, and it's not to take away from anything in regards to the numbers. It's just that the fans of this show are very passionate. They really care about it. And it's just really been very, very enduring on so many levels. And I mean, when I think about it personally, I mean, it's been a part of my childhood into my adulthood, and so many friendships and connections and things have really spawned from it, and that in itself makes it that much more special and not just a TV show that I enjoyed. I mean, if you would have asked me 50 years ago, would I be doing something like this and have met so many wonderful people from all over the world, I mean, it's just mind blowing. And of course, technology's allowed us to do that. I mean, if it wasn't for technology, we wouldn't be doing what we're doing today. So it's just very enduring. So I just want to say thank you for that.
Yeah, to think that we are now holding in our hands what was effectively a comlock.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've got my phone in my hand now, which is about exactly the same size as a comlock, but a very flat comlock with a big screen. It always annoyed me that the screen on the comlock was so tiny. It was about 1.5 inches square, and black and white. So come on, Space 1999. Let's get back and color the comlocks. Anyway.
I saw a comment come through from Nancy. She said the show had a huge impact on me as a little girl. Ken Scott is out there. Ken, welcome to the show as well. Ken said it's always been my favorite show. Michelle Diato said fans are loyal. Brian Jackson commenting a timeless series. Just going back a little bit, Christian said, Anton, was Space 1999 a hit in Jamaica? He's asking. I never heard of it, but welcome and thank you for that.
Yes. To be perfectly honest, I don't know. I mean, I don't get very much fan mail from Jamaica, but I hope to be there in January, so I'll ask.
Yeah.
Good question.
And I can't believe that they have these little conventions. Anton and I went to Italy a couple of weeks ago, and they were just so gracious, weren't they, Anton?
Yeah, it was terrific.
It was lovely. I mean, so lovely they were, and just so welcoming.
Yes.
I've got to mention it. It was just wonderful, wasn't it, Anton?
We're in
Italy.
Italy.
They're really appreciative that we'd come and stayed with them, and they really took great care of us. We had a terrific time.
Yeah.
Where in Italy?
Modena.
Yeah, Modena.
About an hour, I think, from Milan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Modena is where they make Ferraris.
Oh, really? Yeah. My daughter wanted to get married there. But COVID stopped all that because northern Italy was where the major center of COVID hit. Back in, it was terrible. So she had to cancel her wedding. She planned it again for the following year, and then it rose its ugly head up again the following year. So she's never had the Italian wedding, even to this day. We had to go to Santa Barbara and do it here.
Well, Santa Barbara, you can't. Santa Barbara's beautiful.
Oh, it was. She got married in the courthouse, and I thought before, because I'd never been, I thought going to the courthouse would have been horrible. Stand aside the prisoners and the judge. We want to get married, but no, it was not like that at all. It is a beautiful old, I think it was originally built by monks or something. It's amazing. It's got wonderful Spanish history, and the gardens are glorious, lovely arches everywhere. It was a beautiful wedding, but she still wants to go back to Milan or outside Lake Como, which is where
the lakes are beautiful.
that's where she wanted to have the wedding. And so we've just been to my son's second wedding in France.
Right.
And Jessie nipped over to Italy to have a quick look at her location and see if she could book it for next year. So we'll probably go back next year. But now she's got a baby, so she'll. But the 56 people that agreed to come have all kind of waned off now.
Well, they shouldn't, because I love Italy. I love it, and the food was fabulous, wasn't it, Anton? I've
still got some of the cheese which I brought back. We went to a wonderful supermarket there, and I stacked up on cheese, which is just so good.
Oh, that sounds really, really good. In fact, Sylvana is out there, and she's saying hello from Italy. It was great to have you.
Hello. Oh, tell her we say hello. We had
She took such good care of us. I mean,
Oh,
she
she was wonderful.
chaperoned us, babysat us the whole time we were there, and she
Yeah,
really did take very, very nice care. And it was a pleasure having her.
yeah,
Oh.
absolutely. I
Very
hope
sweet.
you're going to come to London next year. Please try and get your passport and come.
Yes.
Lovely, they're lovely people. They were just delightful.
I did a promotional sort of tie-in with that event, and made that formal invite to anybody from Italy that wants to come to London next year. Absolutely, the more the merrier. They've never really had the opportunity to travel and see the filming locations or the original props, and I think that I think everybody would really, really have a good time. So
the problem is, as she said, now we've left the EU, it's a problem getting passports and all this business, which is crazy.
Right.
So anyway, I don't know, but it would be lovely to see them all, and the guy that ran it too, what was his name? Anton.
Gillett.
Yeah, Gillett. Yeah, lovely guy.
Nanny. Pay attention to me, Nanny. Come on.
Claudia said 50 years today on my 10th birthday filming began. Space 1999 is truly my best birthday present. Thank you, everyone.
Oh,
wow.
And let's see. Ordorf is saying, it's great to see all what Comlock devices were able to permit us to do nowadays, and better yet, see the actors use modern technology they first showed us.
Yeah. I tried to get a handheld camera phone going here in America with a friend of mine. There was we had a company that was prepared to make something about the size of one of those the old army phones, the big heavy set thing.
Sure.
And when I was working on Hook with Dustin Hoffman and Robin Williams, the man who worked with me, Tony Burton, the bald black actor, played with me, one of the guards over Hook. He had one of these phones, and it was an army phone, and he had to have it connected to his dark green camouflage box, and he could make phone calls to his agent. And I was so jealous that, when we were on the film set, we couldn't get to a phone anywhere, but he could call anybody with this thing. And it was so heavy. And now we have these little handheld phones that I'm holding right in my hand right now. Staggering.
It's crazy when you think about it.
Our kids don't know what it's like to not have been able to have the use of phones.
Absolutely.
Well, and when you think you could even watch like television episodes on off of like YouTube or what have you, you can watch movies. I mean, it's insane because to have that technology so handy, it's just amazing.
Staggering.
Dave Thomas is commenting. He's saying, hello from Wales, UK, everyone. Have so many fond memories of the show and conventions, including the wonderful Calgary 1999 event. So great to see you out there, Dave. It was a pleasure getting to meet you because you were over here too in the US for the conventions. So definitely looking forward to seeing you next year. And also Savannah said, love you all. It was a real pleasure for me to spend time with you.
Oh, bless.
And Christian said, Tony Burton from the Rocky films and The Shining.
Yes.
Nick, when you said Tony Burton, I was thinking I know that name.
Yeah, he was in all the Rocky movies. He was his trainer.
Yeah, Yep.
Yeah,
Apollo
and
trainer, right? The other guy.
I don't know if he was in the Apollo movies. Was he, Tony?
No, he was Apollo Creed's trainer in the Rocky movies.
Yes,
Carl Weathers' character. Yeah, no, he was a big guy too. He's very very solid.
You're talking Tony Burton?
Yeah,
he was 5'9", but he was built like a brick shithouse.
Yeah, he looked really
muscular. And he asked me. He said to me one day, "Do you go to the gym?" And I said, "Yeah, I go to gyms." He said, and there was a gym at the Sony studios where we were working. He said, "Come on over to the gym this afternoon, when we break." he said, I'm going to hit the bag a bit. You can come and hit the bag with me. So I was, okay. Yeah, Tony was always challenging me to things. He used to play chess with me every day. And he was a fabulous chess player. I didn't win too many games, I can tell you. He wasn't just a tough guy. He was a very smart guy. And so I go over to the gym with him. We get stripped down and he starts punching this bag, which is swinging backwards, a huge bag, and not the little bag, not those fast bags, this great big heavy thing. He said, would you hold it for me for a minute? Because I want it to be steady. He said, don't let it rock. So hang on to it real tight. So me, like an idiot, I hang on to it real tight. And he goes, bam! And he punches this bag. And I don't know if you know the principle in billiards. If you put your ball against another ball and hit your ball against that ball, the ball on the other side is the one that flies away, and the ball you hit stays right where it is. So the bag stayed right where it was, and I flew across the gym and hit the far wall. He hit it so hard. And he said, and I gone, Jesus, Tony. And he says, oh, don't you know that trick? And I said, no, I do now.
Like, you'll never forget that, right?
He was a fun guy. And then another time, at one stage in the movie, all the pirates suddenly turn on each other and start fighting each other, even though they're all friends. So Steven Spielberg just said to all the stuntmen, you know, choose who you're going to fight with. And he said, and I wanted to fight with one of the stuntmen because I didn't want to fight with Tony. And he said, no, you two fight together. And I thought, oh, Jesus, here we go. And he beat the crap out of me because Tony didn't know how to hold his punches. He wasn't a stuntman, you know.
He really was connected.
Yeah, but it was good. I mean, if you've ever seen the movie, when he picks me up and throws me down on the ground, he really did.
I remember when that movie came out. That was what, around 92, 93, 94, I'm thinking?
We made it in 92, you're right. But I think it didn't hit the studios, I mean, cinemas until 94.
Yeah, that was a good film.
It was interesting because I had done Jurassic Park, the movie, the narration for that, you know. This is a story that started 65 million years ago. A movie by Steven Spielberg, Jurassic Park. And I had done that. And I didn't tell Steven Spielberg when I came on the set that I was the voice of his movie, because Jurassic Park came out and I was working as a small character in the film. And there was no point in saying, hey, I do voiceovers too, because for a start, he didn't want an American playing a Cockney. He wanted all original Cockneys. And so I got into the show because I'd lived and worked in England for 15 years and could do all the Cockney accents. And Bob Hoskins completely gave me away, because one time when Steven Spielberg wanted an ad lib, and I say, make him walk the plank. And he says, how do you say that? And I said, make him walk the plank. And Bob Hoskins said, what are you asking him for? And Spielberg said, because he's the real deal. He said, he's not the real deal. He's a fucking Australian. I'm the real deal. And Spielberg looked at me and said, you're Australian? And I said, yes, but I've lived in England for 25 years. Hoskins nearly got me fired.
Oh my goodness. Hey, I want to just read a comment that just came through from Brian Jackson. He said, I would just like to thank all you guys for Space 1999. As Roy said, not as big as Star Trek and Star Wars, but as we will all agree, Space 1999 was a step beyond anything that was out there, and Moonbase Alpha began a voyage that is still ongoing 50 years on, and we still love these 48 wonderful episodes. The journey never ends. Thank you all for the memories. So thank you for sharing that, Brian. Also, I want to say hi to Martin that just jumped in. He just wanted to say that he was out there. Martin is joining us from New York. Welcome. Good to see you there too, Martin.
You want to just say goodbye really quick? Sure.
Oh,
absolutely. Hey, sorry to jump in here, guys. Prentice is feeling a little tired, so he'd just like to say goodbye real quick, but thank everybody for allowing him to join in today. It was really nice to see and talk to everybody. Prentice, here you go.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Lovely to hear you, Prentice. Lovely.
Yes, Prentice, it's been a while since we've met up. I hope we can do that soon anyway.
We'll see you all soon.
We'll see you in September. September, mate.
September.
Yes, we'll see you next year. Talk soon.
Talk soon, Prentice. Thank you.
I'm afraid I'm going to have to leave you. Sorry, but I have to get my little grandson to bed.
Oh, can I come?
What, with my grandson or with me?
Stop, mate, and stop tempting me.
I wanted to share something too, because Jeffrey Morris, who's actually working on the Space 1999 Eagle documentary, he wasn't able to join us because he's actually on his way to Florida. He's on his way to Florida to meet with down there with a former astronaut. But he's going to be doing a production. He actually is having the Eagle cockpit that's being created, and it's going to be in Pinewood Studios. So he wanted me to make sure to extend the invitation to Anton, Suzanne, Prentice, as well as Nick to come to see it when he is in Pinewood Studios in January, and he'll share more information with you. So I just wanted to put that out there. I missed Prentice on that because he had to jump off, but just wanted to get that because I know you're jumping off, Suzanne, too. And then Warren, I know you wanted, if we can share the information before Suzanne jumps off about the convention.
Bye-bye, Suzanne.
Bye-bye, my darling.
Love you, darling. Bye-bye, dear girl.
Love you, and I'll see you next year, I hope. Bye, and see you next year.
Yeah. She never changes. Bye-bye, darling.
Bye, Suzanne. Thank you.
Bye.
I wanted to add something about, you talk about the faithfulness of fans who have watched the show for many, many years and come to conventions and things. When we were in Calvary, I've mentioned this before, but some of the people that are on tonight may not know this. When we're in Calvary, a lot of old fans obviously came to look at all the models and stuff, and came over and said hello, and they embrace me as they would any of the Space 1999 actors that are present at any of these functions, and they throw their arms around me and cry and say how wonderful it is after all these years. Not always, but mostly they're laughing and happy and hugging and giggling. It's wonderful. But sometimes people actually break down and cry, which I have to say is incredibly moving, to think that people have felt like this for 50 years, finally to meet them. But a man came in who was at least as old as I am, and he was very well dressed, and he looked totally out of place in where we were, because a lot of people were walking around just in, skivvies and shorts and stuff, because they were in a lovely big hotel and they were staying there. And they had planned for this for months, to come to the model convention. And this man said that he was on a business trip. He'd never been to a science fiction convention in his life. And he saw the signs down in the foyer that people from Space 1999 were here. And he went, that's my childhood favorite show. And he came in and he walked around the room and he spotted me and he came over and he said, can I say to you that what an honor it is to finally meet you? And I said, well, thank you. Have you been to many conventions? He said, I've never been to a convention in my life. He said, I've never wanted to. And he said, but can I? And then he started to cry. He said, I love this show. And this is just staggering that I'm actually standing in front of one of my favorite characters. And he said, I just adored everything about Space 1999. I had friends and we would play and take on all the roles. And he said, I always wanted to be Alan Carter. And it's this big, like this big business guy, not that all Space 1999 fans aren't immensely successful as well. But he was a man that had never been to a convention in his life, who saw this sign and said, I'll wander in and have a bit of a look at this. And then he became so emotionally involved about it. I was gobsmacked and very moved.
No, that's a wonderful story.
One of the things which never fails to surprise me, Nick, is the young people who turn up, people who weren't even born when we were doing this, who turn up and dedicated fans, and that really surprises me.
You know, my grandchildren still haven't seen the show. My son thinks it's too violent to show to them. I got an 11-year-old grandson and an 8-year-old granddaughter, and he won't let them see the show. I, strangely enough, didn't let my kids see the show either. So perhaps that's the reason why. My daughter was like 14 or 15 when she finally saw the show, and it was a total accident. I had one of England's most famous comics who had come over here, an Iranian actor, and he and his brother came to we're all Baha'i. I'm in the Baha'i religion, and I'd met him at a function through Baha'is, and he said, "Oh, I was a great fan of Space 1999. I'd love to see the show." I said, "Well, they've just put it out on Blu-ray." This was a few years ago, and he said, "Yes, I'd love to see a Blu-ray." I said, "Well, I've got the Blu-rays." He said, "Oh, can I come to your house and see it?" And I said, "Yeah, of course you can." So he came with his wife and brought his brother, and they sat there and we watched about 5 episodes of Space 1999 here on a Sunday in this room, the room here with the big screen over there. And my daughter, who was 14 or 15, as I said, had never seen the show. And she had some girlfriends over and they didn't know what we were doing. They were down in their room. And eventually Jessie came up and she stood behind me, and one of her girlfriends, I didn't know she was there. And one of her girlfriends came in and said, "What are you doing?" And she's saying, "I'm looking at a show, and that's my father. This is like 25 years after Space 1999." And was it that long ago? Yeah, because she's 37 now. And she came over to me. She said, "Daddy," and she put her arms around me again. We cuddled because it was like she was gobsmacked at the enormity and the fabulous quality of the show. Not long thereafter, several months later, there was a Space 19. Oh, it was the year 1999. There was a Space 1999 convention here in LA, and I brought Jessie to it. You might remember that.
Yeah.
If you came to that one. And she was gobsmacked. She stood, couldn't believe all these people coming over and autographs and kissing and hugging and crying. And she was like, "But he's just my dad," you know. It's amazing, amazing.
No, that's
Fandom's
just example.
It's a whole other world, fandom.
It really is.
One of the, just to go back a bit, when you're talking about the communication, Comlocks, yes.
Yeah.
I'm getting old. Getting old. I am old. Do you remember? I don't know if you remember a comic strip called Dick Tracy.
Oh, absolutely.
Where he had his watch, which was a Comlock. Yeah, he had it had pictures on it, live pictures. He talked to people on this wristwatch, and that was, oh God, this is years ago.
Oh, it goes way back.
Or anything like that.
I think Dick Tracy was the 1940s.
It was a comic strip, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yes, it was. Yeah.
And they used to call it was a two-way wrist radio, and they would make a big deal about it when he was like talking into it, because then you could see the person on there. And it's like the Comlock, like you're saying.
Yeah.
Like the Apple Watch. That's what Michelle is saying. It's just like the Apple Watch.
Yeah, my son's got one of those. I said, he asked me, did I want it? And I said, no, I don't want to be Dick Tracy.
But I just wondered, with our understanding of technology now, and almost a limitless, if you're to write new technology into a similar sort of program, where do you think that would go? What sort of devices do you think people would come up with?
Oh, they're going to do implants, which will be in our skull. Just a little thing, no bigger than the head of a match, and we'll be able to talk, and they'll hear us because your head reverberates with your own voice, and we will hear them. I think these two guys here probably know more about all that technique than I do.
I think in the near future, I mean, it's been very predominant in the news lately is everything to do with AI and how that is really progressing exponentially and how that might affect things and shape things moving forward is pretty interesting.
There isn't one day that goes by that you do not hear about AI. It's crazy. It's always in the news. It's somebody, if you're having a conversation with somebody, somebody's always mentioning it. It's just become like the norm for different things. I just want to say hi to May. May is out there. She's saying, hi, everybody. I'm working today, just dropping in on her break. And Micah is out there. Micah, welcome. He was in Calgary. He said, hello, 1999, every dudes. Space 1999 linked all the major sci-fi institutions. I was in Trinidad in December of 1975 and heard it playing from the window. Linda also commented that she's Linda again from Canada. She said Space 99 was a class act, and quite frankly, I've not seen that level of classiness since. And she also loved your story too, Nick. She said you gave her goosebumps telling it.
Well, I don't know which one I.
Oh, the one when you were talking about the businessman that.
Yeah.
About that. That's when she put that up.
Yeah.
Thank
you, Nick, for that story, because I'd never heard that before. And when Roy and I were putting that event together in Calgary, I mean, we never imagined it was going to be as memorable as it was. And it's funny, I was talking to Suzanne before we went on the air. She was talking about her recent journey with Anton to Italy, and we were both saying, you know what, as far as this fandom, I mean, one of the one things that we should all really be thankful for and grateful for, which I'm sure we are, is those smaller, more intimate gatherings of people and fans where it's more like family than anything. And that's what I think is kept this fandom alive and so vibrant for so many years.
I had an extraordinary experience with an Italian convention many years ago. I was living in Australia over the course of this 50-year fandom thing. And I got an invitation to go to a Space 1999 convention in the northeastern seaside resort. It's a bit hard to tell you. It's below Venice, I know that. And it was winter. And so I flew from Australia to Singapore, 6 hours, 2 hours on the ground. Then from Singapore to Bahrain, another 7 hours, 2 hours on the ground. Then from Bahrain to London, another 6 hours. And then 4 hours on the ground while I transferred from Heathrow to Gatwick on a bus. And then 4 hours to Rome. And then I was picked up in Rome by a husband and wife in an old Subaru with a baby in the baby seat. And I was jammed into the back of this Subaru. There was snow on the ground, and it was a 4-hour drive to this hotel that we went to. And the hotel, and it was just horrendous. I'd been awake for like 36 hours. I was so tired. And we eventually get to this amazing, huge hotel on a beach, and it apparently was built by the Italian Hitler. What was his name? Mussolini. He built this hotel because he was convinced that they were going to win the war, and this is where he was going to live. It wasn't a hotel; it was going to be his mansion, but it had dozens of bedrooms, and it was vast, and it was freezing cold. And nobody spoke English. I was at a convention that I think there was one person, oh, Mr. Tate, oh, good to know you. And so me doing all my talk and stuff, they were going, oh, see, it was impossible. It was lovely. I mean, it was lots of hugs and kisses and everything. But strangely enough, I mean, I don't speak a word of Italian. And there was only about 70, 80 people there maximum. And it was full of love, but I cannot tell you how awkward it was for me as an actor to spend all those hours traveling to go to this place that was so cold and not to be able to commiserate with somebody in English because I couldn't speak to them and they couldn't speak to me. it was very loving, and I don't want to speak negatively about anybody that was there. It was just unfortunate that there was a blizzard in Italy at that time, and the roads were almost closed. But he wanted to drive me, and he took me, and I sat in the back of this car. And I thought a couple of times we were going to get wiped out by huge trucks that go down the road, and they swirl up all this sleety, the snow's falling, and the trucks they barrel on down through the road. But the little cars and everything, you get buffeted by it. I'm thinking, this is going to be my last days on Earth. Wasn't the happiest convention I've ever been to. And then I had to go through another 36 hours going home.
Wow.
So, yeah, it was. People they invite us to places, and it's wonderful that they do. But even coming to England is not easy. I'm going to come, but it's it's a whole other world away.
Yeah. Yes.
But nowhere near as far as Australia is to northern Italy.
Sylvania.
I mean, we were fortunate. We were fortunate that we did have SUZANNE, so we didn't have that experience in any way, shape, or form, because she was there to just bridge that gap where that gap existed with us in Italy.
Yeah, in fact, she just commented. She said, "Poor Nick, I promise that if you come to Modena, we will treat you right and talk to you in English." So she just...
I got to learn Italian. I love Italy. I've been to Italy many times since. My daughter adores Italy, as I've already told you. And so we went up and did all the little cities that are closer on that little crook above... they're all perched on cliff tops. What's that area called? The cities in Italy.
I'm not sure.
And there's five of them.
SUZANNE probably knows.
Yeah. Do you know which ones they are, SUZANNE?
Northwestern Italy, and the.
You said they're cliffs.
They're all perched on hills and going down into little beaches. Terracotta. It's not terracottas. It's a name like that.
Oh, I'm not sure. Somebody out there might. Yeah,
SUZANNE would know.
Oh, Clinca Terra?
Yes.
That's
Cinque Terre. Cinque Terre.
Cinque Terre. There you go.
Yeah, the Cinque Terres, and they're wonderful, and the little trains between them. And with that one, that was as warm as anything. I remember when I arrived. That wasn't a convention. That was just my wife and my daughter were waiting for me there. And I ran down and I dived into the ocean, fully clothed. It was very, very warm, very different from the freezing Italy experience years before. But the Cinque Terre is a...
Silvana just asked about San Marino too. She threw that out there.
Yeah, yes. Well, we didn't stay in San Marino, but we drove through.
Yeah, she said, whoops. Cinque Terre, yeah.
Cinque Terre.
Yeah. Dennis said his wife is Italian. That's how he knew that. So
I was wondering that, Dennis. I saw your comment pop up first, being Canadian, but yeah, nice pull.
Yeah.
I think for next year, I think SUZANNE is actually planning on coming. Cross your fingers, barring travel and passports and things like that. But SUZANNE, if that is the case, of course, we're planning on inviting 2 or 3 of the Italian guest stars. So hopefully, if you all make it, you might even be able to help out as a somewhat of a translator as well. So
there you go.
Most of those Italian actors speak English fluently.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be a big problem. But
the guy that came and did Dragon's Domain, he had some English, and I put down all his lines for him on a tape recorder so that he could learn them, because his pronunciation and ease of, he he could speak English as long as it was written and he learned the lines. But more than that, it was more
That's why he did it in
conversational
an
stuff.
Australian accent.
Yeah,
Nick?
that's why he did an Australian accent. Yeah, you're dead right.
Johnny Garco. Which you
Gianni.
will be there, right, right, Warren?
Yeah, Gianni Garco is his name.
Yep.
Ah, he was lovely. He's going to be there.
He's
gonna
coming.
be there.
Well, then he'll remember me well because we got on well. Although I didn't have a scene with him, obviously. They bumped me on the head in the first scene, and I'm in the infirmary the whole way.
Yeah.
That's another story. We'll talk about it another time.
Well, and you know what? Talking about everything 50 years ago, guys, and I don't know if I've ever had the opportunity to ask you this very pointed question. Do either of you have a favorite episode, like one that really just sticks out or resonates with you? Any memories or even scenes that you shot?
Anton?
Certainly. I mean, I've been asked this question before, and so, you know, for me, the very first episode is my favorite episode. I think it's so well done. The special effects in there, I don't think can be improved on much today, even with the advance in technology and everything else. And also the excitement of being on that set for the first time as well. You know,
It was thrilling, wasn't it? Really was thrilling.
It was.
Yeah.
We felt so privileged and a bit gobsmacked, really. I'd always thought that I'd want to be in cowboy movies when I came to America, but I changed my mind the minute they started talking about Space 1999.
Also, you know, walking into a studio and there's Martin Landau and Barbara Bain and Barry Morse, who are people you've seen on television years. I mean, I finished high school, as you know, in the United States, and I remember watching them and watching The Fugitive, and you know, and watching Mission Impossible, and
absolutely,
there you are on stage with them. Wow,
you're dead right. You and I were people that had come from another era. You were where we not Colombia. Where is it? Jamaica, yeah. And I was from Sydney, worlds apart, right across the other side of the planet, and coming to America, which is the mecca of film and television. And I was a fan. I was totally gobsmacked by Martin Landau and Barbara Bain and Barry Morse. I'd seen The Fugitive, I didn't know Prentice, I didn't know Xenia, I didn't know you, I didn't know Clifton Jones. You were all new, but I knew that you'd all been very experienced actors in England, and it was such a thrill to be there. And as I say, we spent a lot of time rehearsing, and Lee Katzin insisted that he bring up all these different potential scenarios because he wanted to see how we would handle them. And he was testing the camera crews and so forth. I couldn't quite understand some of the things Prentice said. I think he said he didn't have a memory of so much rehearsal with in the first episode. But I just remember it took 6 weeks to shoot.
Yeah. And I think it was longer than planned as well, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, they were going to spend an extra week on it. So it would have been 3 weeks, but Lee Katzin spent 6 weeks on it. And the producers, Abe Mandel in America, was ropeable about that. They almost pulled the plug. They said, well, if it's every episode is going to be 6 weeks, then we can't shoot this series. It cost them so much money. But I think Lee was right to do that. Because as you say,
that pilot right, didn't he?
That he really did. He got it right fabulously. They gave him the third episode to do, but they didn't want to give him any more because the second episode took 2.5 weeks to shoot. The third one took another 3 weeks to shoot because he was still wanting to put all the little extra bits in all the time. He always could find the value. And that was good for us when we were the smaller players, because not only did he spend so much time with Martin and Barbara and Barry, but he also came and took quality time with us and got good reaction shots from us. One of the directors that was very good like that was the stunt guy.
Ray Austin.
Ray Austin. Ray always wanted reaction shots from us. And he didn't necessarily put us in exactly the positions we were, because all he needed sometimes was a head turn and a moment of horror or a moment of triumph or a moment of trying to fathom something. And he said, it doesn't matter where you are, you know, because I'm going to be so close on you. And he would snap these moments, and then he'd have Xenia come in and do it, and then move a little bit to the left, and then Prentice come in and do it, move a little bit to the right, and then Anton come in. And because he wanted those reaction shots. And that's why Ray's episodes, I thought, were more fully evolved. And we were all served very well. Because, you know, a show is only as good as the ensemble that's in it. Sure. And for the longest while, it was a show that was very much about Martin and Barbara and their characters, as much as the stories themselves. But they didn't really follow, say, Prentice and Xenia or Anton and me or whoever other us might have been in love. People don't know that, Anton. But anyway, you know, the side stories.
Ray was he the youngest director on the series? Because Dave was also sort of within his age range, but I think Ray came probably more from left field, as it were.
Well, he was a stunt director, yeah. Well, for Charlie Crichton, who shot most of them, was by far and away the oldest. I mean, Charlie was in his 70s, but he was a fabulous director, and he really understood story and composition. And we were very lucky with our directors, I think.
Mm. Yes, I mean, one of the striking things about Charlie is just how focused he was, wasn't he? I mean, whatever else was happening peripherally, he didn't see. It was just what was there in front of him.
And he didn't like interruptions either. I remember one time Michael Barnes, the casting director, had cast an actor that he wanted in the show. And Charlie didn't like this actor and didn't like what he was doing, and he wanted to get rid of him, and he'd already shot a whole day with him. And he was furious with Michael Barnes for having cast him. And Michael Barnes came in to try and tell Charlie that he'd made a right decision and that Charlie just didn't know how to direct him. And Charlie literally threw Michael Barnes out of the studio. Get out of my studio, he was saying, pointing, go! You know, it's like, it was just amazing to hear. And I was rather chuffed because I didn't particularly like Michael Barnes very much. But Charlie didn't pull any punches with anybody.
There's somebody's asking, did Ray Austin teach any martial arts to the cast? Ruby Rage is asking that.
No, he did not. We had Alf Joint, who was our stunt coordinator, and he was brilliant.
Mm. With a group of very talented stunt performers as well, as you know.
Yeah, we had great guys. I loved them all. The Powell brothers, three of them actually, but two in particular that worked on our show. They were in all the James Bond movies and every big gangster film you ever saw. They were the top stunt people, the Powell brothers in England, and Jerry Crampton and I said Alf Joint. Who's the little guy that was like a monkey, climb up and down all the time? Fabulous. And I worked out with them all the time. I would go to they'd go to the gymnasium in London on their off days at Tottenham Court, YMCA, and they had fabulous big thick ropes that would go up to the ceiling. And God, I remember this guy so well. He'd grab hold of the rope and he would put his legs at right angles, and he would just hand over hand right to the top, take one hand off and hit the roof with his hand and then shimmy back down again. I made it my absolute priority in life to learn how to do that. And I finally did it. And much to his, because he was encouraging me. They all had different, some of them came from being the fellow that helped me a lot. He had been a horse trainer and was very good on horses. And he would do sword fighting, old night
things. That was probably Paul, wasn't he? There's Paul Weston.
Yeah.
Paul Weston, he doubled a lot for for Martin and so forth. No,
well, but he, when he wasn't doing films or television, he had a touring show, or was in a touring show, where they reenacted medieval jousting.
That's right. That's right.
And broadsword battles and stuff like that. Yeah.
And the guy that was supposed to be my double, but didn't look anything like me, and so therefore I didn't want him to work and do any stunts. And Alf Joint came to me and said, "Nick, you got to understand, man. We've all got to earn a living too, you know. These guys, this is what they do for their living. For you asking Jerry Anderson not to let him do this work for you, you're getting rid of his career." And I said, "But I don't want him on camera. I want to do the stunts myself." And he said, "Well, I don't know." I said, "I'll tell you what. Why don't you have him be my stunt man and choreograph everything with me, rehearse with me, show me exactly how to do it, and then I will do it." And he said, "But we've got to photograph him. Otherwise, he's not going to get paid." And that was a problem because I didn't want that. He didn't look anything like me, and I wanted to do the stunts. So the only time I ever let him, I said, "All right, he can do this one," was in an episode where Catherine Schell becomes a monster and she can't stop herself. Her character could metamorph, and she's lying in the infirmary. I think you were probably there because it was a hospital scene, and she's lying on this gurney, and Alan Carter walks over to the Maya creature that's lying there to try and bring her back and look into this monster's face, who's strapped down on the gurney, and he just snaps the monster snaps the gurney and grabs hold of me and throws me across the room. So I said, "Well, how are we going to do this?" And Alf said, "Well, we'll put in a mini trampoline. You walk over, we cut round the other side. You then go back and walk again and bounce off the trampoline just as he grabs hold of you. And we throw you up in the air and you land down here." And so Charlie Crichton put the camera on the floor underneath, so he was looking up. But to do that, then for the first time in Space 1999, you could see that there were no ceilings anywhere because we never shot the ceilings. But if we're shooting from the floor, we did. So they then had to race in what's called a scrim and put that across the top, which is a very pale roof made out of materials and bits of wood, but it was very low, and so when I bounced off the trampoline, I was going to hit it, and I said, "No, if I bounce on the trampoline, I'm going to hit the roof." And they said, "Well, sorry, Nick, don't do that. Just come in shallow." And I said, "No, I don't like the idea." So I said to him, "You come and do it." Well, actually, he said to me, he said he could do it. I said, "Okay, well then you do it, but I don't think you should because I think you'll hit the scrim." Well, he did it. They rolled the camera. He bounced off the trampoline, and the stuntman lying there grabbed him, and as he went over, gave him the extra boost, and he smashed into the roof, came down short of the mat he was supposed to land on, broke his 2 front teeth and his collarbone. And of course, I thanked him profusely for doing such a great stunt. but
Roy, Nick, Warren, when you come back, I do have to go now.
Okay.
But it's been a pleasure. And Nick, great seeing you again.
You
Look forward
too,
to
Anton.
seeing you next year, man.
Always, buddy.
Look forward to seeing
I'll
you.
see in September.
Yeah. So, Roy, thank you for inviting me on.
Oh,
Warren?
absolutely, Anton. Thank you for joining us. And it's always a pleasure, just, whether it's, meeting at an event or just having conversation. So it's very much appreciated. So thank you.
Guys, I'm going to have to cut this short too. I've got people out here on my drive where I've got to take all this food out here. I told you that I feed the homeless. We do, and I've done this for over 3 years. This is all the sandwiches and stuff that we make. Wow. And these are the bags we put them in. Well, this is what I do. I make all of that. And I got to go take it out there now because they're about the vans. There's going to be a lot of people outside. I don't know if I can show you any of that. Yeah. Has Anton gone?
Yeah, he just dropped off.
I think we just lost him.
Yeah, we just lost him. Well, Nick.
That's okay.
I think he might have gone
down.
Oh, there you are, Nick. Okay.
Yeah, I'm outside now. All this stuff, this is all the people take. I've got to bring mine down. Okay?
All right. Well, thank you so much, Nick. It's always a pleasure, and it's very, very much appreciated that you were able to join us for this special event. So, you know, again, there's going to be a lot of stuff coming up and a lot of things, but just thank you as well.
God bless you guys. I'm sorry, I got to
Yeah.
go.
No
Okay.
problem.
Inside.
Thanks, Nick.
Take care, Nick.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye. Well, there you go. So,
And then there was you.
and then there was Joe.
What
Yeah,
a great day. Really nice to see and talk to everybody.
Yeah, it really is. And it's just, and again, this is just one component of many of things that are going to be taking place. And I actually, I snuck it in, Warren, but I wasn't fast enough, you know, behind the scenes, but there you go.
Oh, don't worry about it. Just take that down for a minute.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hang on.
We'll leave that for a few minutes. We were planning on talking about the convention at the end of the show. Yeah, there's a few things we can go over. I think everybody's aware of the basics, but there's a couple of special surprises. Well, actually, before we get there, Anton had sort of agreed. We just lost him there. I was going to thank him for it, but he wanted us to relay to everybody and update our website so that it reflects that Anton would sort of be our next official guest coming to London next year. So we'll make those changes on the website and make that official. And of course, we've talked to several other people. It's going to be real exciting between now and next September with the announcements we will have. But yeah, I was thinking, Roy, that we could maybe circle back to that if you wanted to do your regular shout outs. We can come back and talk con more after that.
Yeah. Well, no, you know what? Let's talk about the convention stuff first.
Okay, sure.
Yeah,
we're there now. You get the slide up, sure.
yeah, absolutely.
So why not? But no, thanks to all of the guests today. It's always a pleasure, not only for Roy and myself, but everybody in the community to have these opportunities to hear and listen and ask questions. And this has really been a fun journey for all of us these last few years. Sure, you know, it hasn't panned out. Pardon the pun, with the pandemics to get together live, but we've slowly been gearing up to that, and we sort of what's the old saying? We're dealt some lemons, but we made some lemonade. We put that positive spin and took those delays and created these virtual events, which have been very successful and allowed a lot of people to connect from all over the world. We're very proud to do that, leading up to today, to a sort of an unofficial kickoff to several 50th anniversary events that we're going to see over the next few years. And yeah, and Roy, thanks for letting me take part today. It's
Absolutely
been a pleasure. Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. I appreciate your help, and yeah, especially, you know, technical issues happen no matter what. So, you know, I thank you for, you know, doing that workaround with Prentice. Unfortunately, we couldn't see him, but I was doing some testing with him earlier in the week, and we were just having some problems with, you know, connecting stuff. It's just part of the whole process with different things. Sometimes things work. You know, I've been doing the show for like, oh my God, it's almost like over 3.5 years now. And it's like, when there isn't a technical issue, it's like, is there something wrong? So it's kind of like, you know, you kind of laugh it off. But the important thing is that we got everybody together, and we had, you know, people that were able to, you know, joining in the comments section and sharing that. And then also, if you want to go back and watch it, you can, you know, check it out as well too. So it's just a matter of just trying to bring people together. And that's really the whole purpose of this. And, you know, celebrating this component of Space 1999. It's just, again, it blows my mind to think that literally like 50 years ago on the 3rd of December, principal photography actually started. It's just mind blowing. So I wanted to make sure that it was something that was kind of celebrated. And again, there's going to be a lot of different things coming down the pike, and a lot of it's a good time for Space 1999. So, and I'll, you know, talk about some of that stuff too as we get into the shout outs. But yeah, in regards to the anniversary convention coming up, Warren, yeah, it's 9.5 months away, which is pretty awesome.
it's very exciting that we're able to count down, and now we're less than a year. We can finally say, see you next year to everybody, and it's happening. Come heck or high water, I'll say. Although Nick's already used some more colorful language than that, but the takeaways here, folks, are that everything's in place, and we launched our new website back around Breakaway Day, which will tell you a lot more about it. It's www, of course, space 1999 50years.com. So that's 50years.com. And there'll be hotel information, booking information, ticket information, everything you guys need to know. The dates are there. And this is sort of course, we took the opportunity. And again, with presenting everything we did in Calgary, Roy, it sort of allowed us to test the waters, not only with getting back to these live events, but our experiment with the side trips, the day trips, was very, very successful and very well received. So we're going to adapt what we learned back in Calgary earlier in the year to London with these very exciting day trip journeys to a lot of the filming locations. So we're going to be traveling to, first off, to a very special science fiction museum in local Milton Keynes. It's the National Sci-Fi and Air and Space Museum, I think, run by a gentleman named Jason Joyner, and he is known primarily for a lot of larger events in and around the UK area. He's got a company called Showmasters, but he is a science fiction fan at heart, and he is known for having one of the largest Star Wars memorabilia collections in the world. So a lot of that is on display at his museum. And then, of course, he's a space fan. So he's got, through Jim Winch, he arranged to have the original Moonbase Alpha model restored and put on display in his museum. He's got a one-to-one scaled moon buggy there. And, of course, various props and costumes and things like that. So that'll be one of our days, venturing outside of London. And of course, we're going to devote one day in and around Greater London. I mean, there's so many things to see and do, so we'll probably have a few different opportunities and options for people there. Then the big convention days are going to be the Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So we're going to kick off everything on Breakaway Day. Friday, September the 13th, 2024 is going to be the big day. And of course, rolling into the Saturday, Sunday, with regular convention events, with Q&As, with photo ops, with some fun nighttime events as well. We've got, I think we're going to try and have a sort of a 70s themed disco one of the evenings that our friend Daryl Simmons is going to be able to host, and yeah, just some fun and different things that we've never really done before. I think we're still planning a banquet of some kind on the one night, and yeah, then moving into the following week then. So this has always been in the works way back to 2020, since Robert and I first announced our next event, which was to be in London before everything happened. But we'd always originally planned to go to Pinewood and Black Park, just like you and I did, Roy, back in 2014. It was such a thrill. It was such a journey for us to, and what a ride, literally, right? I mean, to pull up the front gates of Pinewood Studios and get, shuffled off by security, basically. We couldn't actually side. We're crossing our fingers. We've got a few connections, and of course, if there's any way we can get on the grounds themselves and maybe have a quick little tour, I mean, it's definitely high on the list of priorities here. But either way, we'll still be there. We'll be in the area. But the other fun thing, of course, was when we went to the adjoining Black Park, Roy. And do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, what I was just going to say is, I mean, leave it to us to be there. I mean, this is in 2014, and unfortunately, what was going on is they were right in the middle of filming Star Wars, and it was, I guess it was one of the last. What was I guess it was one of the movies that was in production.
The Force Awakens. It was right before the new trilogy came out. They were filming Episode 7.
So with all of that hype and everything, security was, it was full force. And not for anything, it was like, we're not here for that. We're not here to, don't worry. We're not going to try to sneak on the Millennium Falcon. We're not trying to do that. It was more about, seeing L&M stages. So we actually literally got up to the gate. But what we did was then Black Park, as a lot of folks know, borders with Pinewood Studios. So what we did was we went to where the entrance of Black Park was, and then it was you and myself, and then we had your sister Heather, and then also Patty was with us. And what you and I did was we rented bikes, and then we rode through Black Park, and then got to the border where the fence was, the gate was, and then literally on the other side were L&M sound stages. So it was kind of cool. I mean, obviously we didn't get in and anything like that, but it was the nostalgia of actually being there. And then as just walking through Black Park, or even bike riding through there is not only with Space 1999, and I mean the immediate episode that immediately comes to mind is, you know, the Full Circle, because that was when everybody kind of got out of the soundstage. But there is so much history. I mean, in regards to the James Bond films, the HAMMER films that were filmed back in the day that took place at Black Park. So it's almost like when you're walking through there, you know, you're just thinking about the presence. And I remember my mom used to say that, you know, we're you know, when you're kind of like walking in the steps of folks that had been there, it's almost like not the ghost, but the history, and then the spirits, so to speak. You're really feeling that history. And we even saw the lake where they shot Rizalotan, yeah, in regards to that. So it's just really, again, it's all about the nostalgia, and it's really something that can be experienced. And that was just being in the park area. So if we are actually able to get into the studios themselves and get beyond the gates, that in itself would be pretty amazing. So a lot of fun.
100%. And of course, UFO. There was quite a few episodes.
Yes, UFO. Thank you. Yes, and there was a lot of stuff filmed in regards to UFO. I just want to say hi to Sherry. Hi, hun. Thanks for being out there,
Sherry.
But yeah, it's pretty incredible. And again, it's 9.5 months away. May just commented. She said, in London, wouldn't it be cool to visit Abbey Road and recreate the famous crosswalk photo with people in Alpha clothing? Yeah, that would be really cool, May.
And listen, May, I've had a thought about that, because, yeah, of course, the remainder of the day trip. So that's going to be the Mondays would be Pinewood and Black Park. Tuesday, we're going to try and go to Bray Studios, of course, the special effects studios.
Brian Johnson's crew.
Yes, and hopefully Brian will be able to join us. And sort of, that's the other thing, is we're of course going to open this up for the celebrities to come along. That was one of the highlights of Calgary, was you know, being able to see all these beautiful views with Nick and Yasko, and so same rule applies here, is that we're certainly going to open it up to anybody that wants to join us. But yeah, so Tuesday will be Bray. And it's still, to the best of my knowledge, it's still a running functional studio. So I'm not sure about the ins and outs of gaining access or things like that, but we're certainly going to, of course, try our best. And then one of the things we came up with here just in the last couple of months to sort of cap off our week-long events, literally, is traveling up north for anybody who wants to come with us to a local area called Port Marion, where they shot the famous series The Prisoner, another ITC production. So we're planning on going up there. And to circle back to what May was saying, it's very close to Liverpool, to Abbey Road, and places like that. There's no reason why from there, you know, if you know, it's going to be up to you. I mean, we can branch off and do different little things, and but the idea would be to stay actually a couple nights in Port Marion, in the village where they shot this famous series, and then you branch out from there. So Abbey Road would be one of the things that I'd be interested in myself. So lots of fun things we have planned.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good time. It really is. And again, we are just coming into the beginnings of all this too. So it's pretty amazing. Brian, and speaking of amazing, Brian just said it's an amazing place. I think Brian had posted some photos from there, if I remember correctly, of that. So yeah.
Brian and Daryl Simmons was there recently with his son Scott, and yeah, they're big fans as well. So they'll even be able to, I'm sure, act as tour guides somewhat as well, and be able to show us around a little bit. So
I mean, that's just another incredible series. I mean, Patrick McGowan back in the day, that was, if I remember correctly, I think that was shot in 60. I think it was on in 68, shot in 67. So that's like a 55-year-old series right there too, which is insane. But yeah, crazy.
Oh, for sure. As far as the event itself and those 3 days, and I just want to point out that I'm sure everybody's aware that we're going to have some pretty big surprises for everybody in attendance, some very special things, especially considering that our launch day that Friday is actually going to be a breakaway day. Yeah, trust me, there's going to be some pretty cool things that if you miss out, yeah, you're going to be kicking yourself because I'll give you a little example here. Now we've talked about well, and just from a modeling and replica and display perspective, I mean, we are working very closely with Daryl on some things. But yeah, the long and the short of it is that you're probably going to see the largest gathering of original props and pieces, screen used items, which is another thing that we were really proud to be able to pull together for Calgary, Roy. And you know, it's the interaction with the fans, and when they see, I mean, the stars and the celebrities, we all love them, they're all great, but I mean, these original props and pieces have a sense of heritage, and of course, you know, when you talk of all things museum worthy and museum quality, I mean, they definitely rank right up there. We've seen just in the last couple of years the value of these items with some of these private auctions happening and things like that. I mean, they're definitely a part of film and television history, and we're definitely going to be focusing on a very, very special exhibit along those lines, just so everybody knows. The other thing I wanted to talk about really quickly that nobody really knows that I would like to cover today, and that's that photo I sent you a couple seconds ago, Roy. I wanted to hold up something here, and just, we were talking a lot about technology down through the years, 60s, 70s, 80s technology, and I don't know if you can see this here, but I've got a VHS tape. Just for a size comparison, and what I've got behind it, and I'm a big home video guy, and Space down through the years, I mean, just in a nutshell, I own Space 1999 on Laserdisc, on DVD, now on Blu-ray, of course, all the different formats. But one of the things that happened to Roy and myself and a few others just over the course of the last year is a very exciting development and journey that we've all been able to take together. And essentially, long and the short of it is that we were able to acquire some essentially the personal videotape collection of Martin Landau's of all the Space 1999 episodes. And through fortunate connections, we were able to obtain these. And of course, the idea was that, and I'm going to hold one up here. Oh, my background is.
Whoops, it's the blue.
Yeah. Give me a second. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. People get the idea. There, you can see it.
Yeah.
Okay. This is Martin Landau's personal copy of Breakaway.
That's pretty cool.
Dated late 1974. So roughly 10 months before the series premiered. So we were able to obtain all these early copies and versions of episodes, you know, and of course in the hopes of discovering some very, very fun little interesting nuggets of maybe lost footage, alternate scenes, alternate episodes. And what I had to do, essentially, this is a different tape format. This is a 70s professional tape format called U-matic. And I had to go out and buy a special machine just to play all the tapes, to figure out what was on there. And it was really fun and fascinating finding that big behemoth of a machine. I had to have help carrying it down into my basement. It's so heavy. It's right out of the 1970s. So that was an original U-matic player that I had to find its source to watch all these tapes. And so just let me say, I'll just sort of end on a mysterious note. We have found some very, very interesting things on these tapes, which we're hoping, of course, to premiere at the convention, at the event. And like I said, you're going to really want to be in attendance on Breakaway Day next year, because these are going to be pretty. I mean, let's face it, and Roy can attest to this. We all know these episodes backwards and forwards. We could literally cite the dialogue backwards if we needed to. Roy, come on. And so I tell you, on a couple of these tapes, even if I was sort of viewing it off to the side and not really paying attention, the moment I picked up on, say, a different audio take, a different music cue, it was like, oh my God, it was like, it was just, it was mind-bogglingly cool. And of course, we're going to want to present this next year for the fans. We were real happy to obtain this. And of course, you know, we're not about hoarding things and trying to make money off it. We're going to make it, you know, accessible to the public. And of course, we want to tie it into the premiere next year on Breakaway. So that's just one example of some of the exciting things we have sort of in the works in the background, if you will.
Yeah, it's funny when you say that, because it's like, even if you see somebody, you know, I'll say reaction shots, you know, you're waiting for different things. It's everything is just like so implanted, because all of us out there have watched these episodes. It's like 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 times over. And it's just, and I always say this, there's probably, for me, there's only a handful of shows that I've seen that many times. And probably in excess, I would have to say Space 1999 and Star Trek is at the top. And then there's, of course, Lost in Space, because I was always a huge Lost in Space fan, but not so much the second season. But even with that, I've watched those shows immense amount of times, but not to the level that it is with Space 1999 and Star Trek. And it's crazy. And I know the majority of the folks out there are the same way, just as you were expressing, that, you know, you actually hear music. And then when you hear music in your mind, you know what's going on in regards to the sense of the scene, or you're waiting for like a certain type of cue. It's just crazy. Lou Place, who's a mutual friend of a lot of folks out there, Space 1999 fan, he sent me a CD with or a Blu-ray that had some stuff with Star Trek, and I'm listening to the music, and what he was showing me with it and then what was actually playing are two totally different things. But again, we hear these incidentals and we hear these themes, or we hear these soundtracks playing of 1999, and we almost like can visualize the scene that's taking place, or scenes, because obviously sometimes music is reused, and it's pretty incredible, to your point. So yeah, it's exciting. And I had been saying too for forever, I mean, talking to different people, I still say it, I keep hoping maybe somewhere else besides with what you was discovered with this, Warren, is that deep in the vaults of ITV, you know, maybe there's even, you know, some more things that will come up. But this,
absolutely, we haven't even gone through all these tapes yet here on this end. And so just let me say real quick, and of course, yeah, that was one of the things, was searching for lost footage, right, that nobody's seen. I can tell everybody at this point that it's funny, Nick earlier today mentioned reaction shots, and so we've got at least a couple of different instances where there's different reaction shots with some of the actors.
Sure.
You know, it's not much, it's not a lot, but it's still cool to see after 50
cool.
what could have been. And then the other thing I'll say is that we've got at least one complete alternate version of one episode, and I'll just leave it at that. I don't want to say any more, but there's enough differences in it that in my mind, it qualifies as an alternate version of at least one episode. So
yeah, it's
very exciting.
Yeah. Jeff Rubel, I want to say hi to Jeff. He came in towards the last minute before, but he just made a comment. And this is something, Jeff, I remember that used to drive me crazy back in the day. He said it's the same effect when you're watching an episode on WPIX 11 or whatever, where they butchered so much time out of them that you just thought you knew the whole thing. Then you see it again on another channel with different cuts, and then you're stunned. Yeah, I used to go back and forth with that, because Channel 11 out of WPIX out of New York would run the episodes. And that's all I knew for the first season in 1999. And then when my parents came out to this area of New Jersey, which incidentally was 47 years ago on November 30th, which is crazy, Channel 17 out of Philadelphia was playing the episodes, and they were like running a week behind. So when I'd watch it on 11, I'd see the one cut of, you know, things that were the one print that had significant cuts. And again, this was done because of television commercials. They ran 52 minutes, but they had to take out some time because of the commercials. And then when it was on 17, it would actually have the footage that 11 didn't have, and then vice versa. And then I was trying to like piece it together. So good analogy on that, and you hit that right on. So, but yeah, it's an exciting time.
For sure. It's going to be a lot of fun. So yeah, please check out the website, www.space199950years.com. We're also on Facebook under the same name, so you can track things there and follow our upcoming announcements.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you for that, Warren. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And what I'm going to do, folks, I'm going to go to the shout outs of the show. And just going to put some things out there just to reiterate. And I wanted to try to catch, as everybody knows, Jeffrey Morris has been working on the documentary. So that is actually in production right now, and it is happening. So he, like I was saying, he would like to have been to have joined on the show today too, but he is actually down in Florida and he's doing an interview. So we'll leave it at that. But a lot of fun stuff is happening in regards to that. He did invite everybody that was on in regards to Nick, to Prentis, Suzanne, as well as Anton, to Pinewood Studios when he's going to be there in next month in January, because what he is doing is he is developing the Eagle cockpit as well as some parts of the Eagle. There's going to be information about that coming down. So he wanted me to pass that on to them. So that is, the documentary is in full force. So again, as I was saying before, as we've been saying, there's going to be a lot of different things that are going to be taking place in regards to Space 1999. And this is an exciting piece because this has been something that has been in production and underway, and something that Jeffrey has been working on for the last year. So it's just definitely an exciting time in regards to that. Next,
100%. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Jeffrey, really quick, and of course he came up to Calgary, but what a great guy. I mean, Roy, you and I have worked with him. I got to say, you know, from a fan perspective, his passion and his drive and everything he's putting together here, just through the roof, phenomenal.
Absolutely. No, and it's you know, he's going to help Space 1999, and again, you know, there's so many things happening. This is just another element where it's going to be in the public's eyes. So just, you know, stay tuned in regards to that. And you can follow the website for information in regards to the documentary, the progression of the documentary. You can go to www.eagledocumentary.com for the information. Next, I want to give a shout out to Mike and Mary Beth, and they do Sci-Fi Distilled. It's on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. They have not announced their show that's going to be taking place, but that will again be this Wednesday. And they cover science fiction of the 80s, 90s, and beyond. And again, that is Sci-Fi Distilled. I want to give a shout out to, if you're in the New Jersey area, and also if you are in the Belvedere, Harmony, New Jersey area, which is not too far from here, the community theater group that I actually grew up with and have been a part of for over 30 years is Country Gate Players. And they are actually doing the last show this season, which is It's a Wonderful Life, a radio play. And it's going to be opening next weekend. It's going to be from December 9th through the 17th. You can find out information if you go to the website at www.countrygate.org, or you can go on to Bill's website, which is www.billscarrato.com for information in regards to ticket prices and times. And next, I want to give a shout out to another Space 1999 fan out there, Captain Phil from Captain Phil's Planet. Captain Phil is on WUSB 90.1 FM, Stony Brook, New York. His schedule right now is he is on Friday nights from 9 p.m. to 11:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can check out the captain there at the station. Also, I want to give a shout out to Martha for Studio One Thrift, congratulating her. And Martha is actually, I've got to know Martha because my grade school friend, John Risco, it's his girlfriend, and she has done an amazing job with Studio One Thrift. It started out as an online store, and now she has a physical location. And you can find out information. She just launched a new website address. So it is www.studioonethrift.net. and she offers quality, stylish, affordable clothing for men and women, and you can also receive styling tips and information as well. You just need to make sure that you register at the website. In fact, tomorrow on Monday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, she's going to be doing a live show, which will be on Facebook. And again, that's December 4th, and that will be tomorrow. Again, you can go to the website for information in regards to that. And then, of course, another longtime friend, and he is my co-host, Mr. Ross Amico. Ross does two shows, which is Picture Perfect, which is on Friday nights from 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, usually on when we're doing this show. And then also The Lost Chord, which is on Saturdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you want to follow information in regards to Ross, you can go to Classic Ross Amico on his Facebook page. He gives updates and statuses in regards to everything. He has a new online radio station that he actually is uploading his information to, which is KWAX, the Classical Oregon station. And you can go to kwax.uoregon.edu for information in regards to that. And lastly, in regards to next week, there will be no show on Friday, but I'm going to be doing a special show on Saturday evening, and I'm going to be doing this show with a grade school friend. I just referenced before that my parents moved out here. We moved out here actually like 47 years ago. I was 10 years old, and it was we were living in Wallington, New Jersey. And anyway, growing up in the 70s, big $6 Million Man fan, but I thought, how cool would it be? And through the technology of Facebook, I've actually reunited with a friend that I was friends with back in grade school. We'll correspond on occasion. And I thought Jack Bellow, who actually had introduced me to the $6 Million Man back in the day, I remember him distinctly telling me about it. I thought, wouldn't it be cool to talk about the show? So Jack is going to be joining me. It'll be next Saturday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It'll be a special day. Usually we don't broadcast on Saturday nights. But if you want, just to let you know, to join us, I'll be doing some reminders about that. And it's going to be kind of cool just to talk about it. Not sure exactly which episode we're going to focus on, or maybe more in general, it'll just be the topic of the $6 Million Man. But anyway, the fact is it'll be cool reuniting with a grade school friend and taking a look back at the show, which also originated back in 1973. It's hard to believe the show was 50 years old. So definitely stay tuned for that. And that will be the next Roy's Tie-Dye Sci-Fi Corner show. The other thing I want to do too is, I don't have a slide and I apologize. Todd Morton and Gordon Moriguchi, they do their show, and it's Todd's Corner. And that is usually on at Sundays at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Todd graciously postponed his show for today because I was going to be running into some overtime. Wasn't sure exactly how things were going to be going. So Todd will be back. That will be next Sunday, December 10th, and that will be at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Todd also broadcasts on Facebook as well as YouTube, so you can definitely check it out. And again, that is going to be Todd's Corner, and that is going to be, again, next Sunday, December 10th at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But yeah, covered a lot today, Warren, and it was good. It was very good. And again, thank you for joining me. I appreciated the assistance and the help, especially with the tech issues, because we all know how that goes.
My pleasure.
But, yeah, and it was great having the folks join us out there. We hope you enjoyed the show. And yeah, Space 1999, long live 1999. So in all of its components, there's so many aspects of it, and so many different fan groups out there. So just glad to be a part of it.
Yeah, 100%.
And as I always like to close, any last thoughts or any last comments before I close?
No, I'm good. Thanks again for everything, and wonderful to see and chat with everybody today. And keep in touch, keep watching. There's lots of things fun and exciting on the horizon. So we hope to see you all there.
Awesome. And as I always like to say, live long and prosper, everyone.
Yeah.
Have a great week and take care.